Hi everyone. Every once in a while you come across a stamp set and without any further thought you know exactly what you want to do with it. Alex Syberia Designs Sparkle and Dance was one of those sets for me. It includes two little dancing critters. I'm featuring one of them in a sweet spinner card. I wanted the kitty image to be seamless as it spins, so this card includes an interesting technique called mirror stamping. Although I have heard that others have had success using a large stamp and then flipping it over and using the flat side to create the mirror stamping, that didn't really work well for me. So I'm using a product by Stampendous called a mirror stamping plate. I first removed the foam insert from the MISTI. The stamping plate is picked up by the door of the MISTI and the stamp is positioned where you would typically place the paper. I also tried this technique with several different kinds of inks, but I had the best result using Versamark ink and then embossing the image. After I have inked the stamp a couple of times, I replace the foam mat and then put down the cardstock that I'm going to be stamping on. Using a pressure tool also helps to create a better impression. The image is coated with silver embossing powder, and as you can see, I've got a pretty clear image. After the embossing powder is melted, I can go ahead and stamp my second image as I would normally. You can see that I've drawn a line on the stamp. I tried a variety of different ways to do the stamping and also to do the die cutting. So what I'm presenting to you is what ended up working best for me. The coordinating die was lined up with the image that had been stamped as usual. This was another area that I had to play around with to figure out how I could best die cut the mirror stamped image. I had a nice, bright, sunny day when I was working on this, and what worked well for me was to hold the image up against a window pane. I was able to see the outline of the image perfectly on the back of the panel, line up the die, and then use some low-tack tape to hold it in place. If you have a light box, that would work very well, but I didn't, and you work with what you've got. The beautiful floral spray from the Life is Good stamp set will take the feminine prettiness of this card to the next level. Like the kitties, it was stamped with Versamark ink and embossed in silver. I stamped and die cut two of the images, which will be cut down so that they would just frame the bottom and top of the card front. All of the images were Copic colored. The first thing that I did with the floral sprays was to take a black Copic marker and color in the edging. For each color combination, a light, mid, and dark tone was used for each of the flowers and the leaves. Coloring of the kitties was much more straightforward. A black skirt with pink polka dots and then two shades of gray to add some dimension to the kitty's body. If you're interested in any of the color combinations that I've used, the markers will be listed on my blog at bonniecarollee.com. A spinner is a super easy interactive element to pull together. To begin, some double-sided tape is placed down the middle of the back of one of the kitties. The backing paper is removed and a length of clear transparent thread is adhered down the middle. I make sure that the thread extends well above and below the image. And then liquid adhesive is applied to the other image. When these two die cuts are adhered together with the thread sandwiched in between, the double-sided tape with the addition of the liquid adhesive will ensure the thread is good and secure. An A2 size card base and black cardstock have been die cut with an oval die. The oval from the black cardstock has been popped through the opening of the card base and adhered so that it would be on the inside of the card. Next, a couple of pieces of double-sided tape are adhered to both the top and the bottom of the oval on the card base. After the backing paper has been removed, the two ends of the thread are held tautly and the kitten is centered in the middle of the oval. I'm using a double-sided tape by Sue Kwang. This is a very strong adhesive and holds everything securely. Next, the black card front, which is also A2 sized, is adhered to the front of the card base. The thread that is extending at the top and the bottom of the card are trimmed off. The two florals are a little bit deeper than what I need. This will give me a little bit of wiggle room. As each of the floral panels are adhered, the kitten is spun around just to make sure that there's clearance between it and the highest point of the die cuts. The bottom of the floral is then trimmed off so that it is flush with the card base. A pink oval that was die cut with the same oval die as the black one has also been die cut with a dot detail. This is from Spellbinder's Oval Essentials Nesting Die Set. The sentiment, Dance Like Nobody's Watching, has been die cut with the coordinating die. I've also cut white cardstock 3 times so that it can be stacked. A few clear dew-like gems are added to the flowers and the leaves. And then I finish up with a fun black, pink, and white mix just to highlight the kitten. And that wraps up this spinner card with Alex Syberia Designs Sparkle and Dance, featuring an interesting mirror stamping technique. This dancing kitty is absolutely adorable. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making this card. As always, I appreciate your visit.